Welcome to How to Learn Math. My name is Jo Bowler. I'm a professor of math learning at Stanford University, and I'm joined by my students here at Stanford who will help present the course with me. So we're here to give you an amazing experience of math, to help you love math and learn it to the highest levels you want to. We're here to improve your relationship with math. If you don't like it now, we're hoping to change that. And if you aren't successful with math, we're hoping to change that too. Even if you are successful and like math already, the new ideas we show you will help you. The amazing thing is, we can help you in these ways by showing you the latest research on learning. But don't worry, there won't be any long lectures. Instead, we'll be showing you some cool graphics and introduce you to lots of different people who will share ideas with you.
First of all, we would like to know who you are and what you think about math, so we would like you to fill out a short survey. This is really important. Please fill it out.
A lot of people, as you may know, have a bad relationship with math. Often, they don't like it, or they don't do well in it. This is partly because of things they don't know about math that we will show you in this course.
We went to San Francisco and asked people what they thought about math. How do you feel about math?
How do I feel about math? Let's see, I use it at work. It's a tool. I'm not sure I guess in some ways you feel it if you can relate it to nature, but I don't know. I feel math in a sense. Not when I study just math, no.
Why?
Because I can't understand it unless it relates to something physical.
Math? You're joking.
How do you feel about math?
How can you have a feeling about math?
I love math. I think it's relevant to a lot of things, day-to-day life, obviously, and how we move. I mean, I guess that's the physics aspect of it, but yeah, I think math is great.
How do you like it, dislike it?
I never really liked it too much, but I guess I liked being able to figure stuff out if I had to.
And what didn't you like about it?
Just some of the more esoteric stuff that I didn't feel was directly applicable to my life.
Okay. How do you feel about math?
Kind of hate it. I was good at it up until middle school, and then after that it sucks.
What do you mean? How can you feel something about math?
Do you like it?
No.
What don't you like about it?
That there's a lot of rules, every different subject, such as geometry, advanced algebra, calculus. Like, there's a lot of stuff to learn. And
I liked stuff that was more explanatory, like what is it, that like imaginative numbers and things like that. That didn't make too much sense.
Okay. Okay, so how do you feel about math?
I love math.
And you?
I mean, it's better than English, I'll tell you that.
How do I feel about math? I think it's frustrating.
Okay. Why?
Because there's no room for, I guess, interpretation. It's just a fact. You can't change how you would figure out the problem.
All right, so how do you feel about math, the subject?
How do I feel about math?
Yeah.
It was very boring growing up. I appreciate it more as an adult,
Okay,
but
so
when I was a kid, I did not like math.
All right, why is that?
It was a lot of repetition, and why else didn't I like it? Yeah, just all the practice, doing it over and over again. And back when I was a kid, we had to draw out all the graphs, and, long division was very tedious. So it was just tedious, yeah.
Okay. All right. So how do you feel about math?
I think it all adds up.
Okay.
As you will have heard, lots of people we spoke to didn't like math. Some liked it, but very few. And the difference between those who did and those who didn't like math is the experiences they had. Think about the people who didn't like math. What did they say that turned them off?
All the things mentioned in the videos that turned people off math were not to do with math itself, but the way it is taught, particularly in the US. People talked about it being monotonous and too abstract and not linked to life, something you couldn't even have feelings about. Those are the reflections of people who were introduced to math in the wrong ways. Many of them did say, though, that now that they were adults, they liked it. You may be unfortunate in classrooms that offer math as a dry, monotonous subject, or you may be fortunate and in classrooms where math is shown as a living, breathing subject with lots of ways to access it. But whichever you're in, this course will help you as it'll show you the real nature of math, not the boring, dry version often presented in textbooks, but living, breathing math that is all around us in the world, the math that you can have a positive relationship with.
First of all, we're going to smash a couple of myths that have been around for a long time, may have damaged your learning at some point, and are completely wrong. The first myth that's everywhere and is really damaging is the idea that only some people can be good at math, or that some people have a gift for math and some don't. And that idea is everywhere. It's in TV shows and sadly it's in schools as well. You may have been told or led to believe that some people are math people and some aren't, or that math isn't for you. Well, it turns out that's not true. Everyone is born with the innate ability to do well in math, and whether you do well or not comes from the experiences you've had and the beliefs that you hold.
Everyone can do really well in math.
There may be some people, you know, who seem naturally good at math, or just love it, when you don't. But that has come about because of experiences they have had. Anyone can get to the highest level of math in school.
There's no such thing as a math person or the idea that some people are math people. Everyone is a math person.
Let's look at the brain evidence. Scientists now know that experiences grow your brain, and the brain is so plastic that it can rewire itself and grow in a really short space of time.
This is how learning works. When you learn something, a synapse fires in your brain. It's like an electric current. And the pathways formed by the synapse are like water in the sand. The more you return to an idea, the stronger the pathway gets. If you don't go back to it, it will wash away. When you learn something, your brain grows, and if you learn it deeply, it grows and stays. So you may think some people are just brainy or smart because they just are, but it all comes from what they've learned. And
you can catch up to them.
When you learn, synapses fire. And this doesn't just happen when you're in a class, it can happen when you read, when you build something, when you have a conversation, when you get an idea, and when you make a mistake. Synapses are firing in your brain every day.
The brain is like a muscle. The more you work the muscle, the more it grows, just like in the gym.
If weightlifters exercise with the same size weights, they wouldn't grow muscles, and they have to keep increasing the weights. It's the same with math. The harder you think, the more you struggle with an idea, the more your brain grows. What was a really important message you've just heard? You can choose as many as you like from this list.
Here is some of the evidence that has stunned scientists in recent years and made them realize that everyone's brains can grow and change at any time.
Taxi drivers in London have to learn 20,000 streets and 25,000 landmarks in London before they become qualified. They study for 2 to 4 years, and at the end of that time they take a test which is just simply called the knowledge. When they've finished their training, scientists have found that the hippocampus in their brain is bigger. And the hippocampus is the area of the brain that's specialised in acquiring and using spatial information. When they retire from being a taxi driver, their hippocampus shrinks back down. That's how flexible the brain is.
Scientists took a group of people who could not juggle and split them in half. With one group, they really encouraged them to practice, also showing them some good ways to practice.
Not surprisingly, the group that practiced learned to juggle and the other group didn't. But the practice group also had significant brain changes. They grew the seeing and movement areas of their brains, and they developed more ability.
Another really important recent scientific finding: a 7-year-old girl had half of her brain removed, a hemisphere, because she kept having fits that the doctors could not control. Scientists expected her to be paralyzed for a long time, as the brain controls your ability to walk and run, all of your physical actions. But she recovered the ability to move really fast, totally shocking all the doctors, because the brain structures and connections grew back.
So the brain is much more plastic than anyone ever thought. In one of the studies, a 6-week training course, when students worked on a task just for a few minutes each day, changed the structure of their brains. And we should think about that. Working on a task for a few minutes per day for 6 weeks can cause your brain to rewire and grow. If that's true, imagine what you can do for your brain over the course of a year in a math lesson.
A number of things really help you in math. Building with shapes in games, or in origami, building with Legos, playing board games such as backgammon, or lots of others, and playing with some apps and computer games. We'll show you some really good ones in the last session of the course.
But there is a problem. The really useful games for math learning are often in the boy aisles of toy shops. In lots of stores, you will see aisles that are pink, meant for girls, and aisles that are blue, meant for boys. The aisles that have lots of dolls and things to care for are for girls, and the blue ones, for boys, have building and construction toys that are really good for math.
This is an example of shops trying to box you in. They are using what is called stereotyped thinking. They are making life unfair by encouraging some kids to do valuable things and not giving others access to them. Always resist stereotype thinking. Always.
Don't let yourself get boxed into any area. The ideas in the world are for everyone to enjoy, whether they're reading, puzzle building, programming a computer.
Never let anyone tell you that an idea is not for you, or that you cannot do well in math. If they tell you these things, then that is because they don't know the latest research on the brain and learning.
In later sessions of the course, we'll teach you the strategies that will help you grow your brains the most and achieve the most math success. For now, we want to end this session by asking for your help. We want to learn about the ways to communicate the messages we've given you to more people and to people of different ages. And we'd like you to help us by writing down the main messages you learned in Lesson 1, but written for somebody of your own age. Don't worry about perfecting wording or using the right spelling, but what are 3 important things you learned today that everyone your age should know? Write a paragraph for us, please.